Good morning, and well, it's really happy Friday, traders. It's 8:01 a.m. Chicago time on the 11th of October, um, 2019. This is episode number 1615. We're here today to talk markets yet again. A lot of episodes. Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Risk on today, risk on. The DAX leading the pack just took off. The DAX up 222 points, 1.83%. The overall theme today, optimism prevails for potential agreements in U.S. China trade talks and Brexit negotiations. Risk appetite continued to be aided by optimism on two fronts. As I said, U.S. China might be headed for a mini trade deal. This came out just overnight. UK Brexit Secretary Barclay arrived at the EU for Brexit talks with Barnier. Barnier just said to have received green light from the EU 27 for there to be tunnel negotiations. Go figure what that means, or first secret negotiation phase. Um, and also the U.S. Chamber of Commerce says there's potential currency agreement in the works in U.S.-China trade talks in exchange for postponement of tariff talks or tariff hikes. Trump and his administration understand the negative consequences of an escalation with China. As a reminder, tariffs on $250 billion of Chinese goods are scheduled to rise from 25 to 30% on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. I want to remind everyone that Monday is actually Indigenous Peoples Day or Columbus Day. The market may be quiet. This is not considered an exchange holiday, uh, but school's out and some businesses are not operating. So anyway, so that's where we are. Lots of news-driven events again, pushing this market around. We see the result here on at risk on. The laggard today is gold. Gold is off about $11.5, 0.75%. December gold's trading at 1489.50. Um, the bonds are off 24 ticks. The 10-year notes are off 14 and a half ticks, and the Bund is off 50 cents. The S&P is opening in a gap higher. It is well into the 2900 territory. We did test around the 2950 yesterday and have come off. And so all looks good. I'll show you a couple of things that are changing the context a little bit in the short term towards a short squeeze. We'll go over that. It is that time of the month where I ask those who are listening, also those not only on YouTube but on Periscope as well, if you could put down your location where you're hailing from. We've been amazed by the diversity of the traders who are tuning in. The videos generally get hit by 1,000 to 1,200 viewers a day, sometimes 15, 1,600, depending on market activity. And we want to see where you're from. So if you can just type in your city, state, country, or city and country, or whatever's identifiable, so that others can look and see if you're close by. Hopefully, you'll take the time to meet each other one way or another. If you want to hook up and you're not able to contact each other, you can always tweet me or go to futurestrader71.com/contact, and I'll try to get someone to put you together. If you're on Periscope, you must be logged in with Twitter. Just go to @futurestrader71 or just start a tweet to @futurestrader71 or go to twitter.com/futurestrader71 and put down your location. I would appreciate that. We don't do anything with this data other than to see The fact that it's a one world, this is a big theme. I grew up in over 13 countries, and to me, the world, I don't belong anywhere. I'm a third culture child, as they say, and so. To me, the world is a very, very, very small place. We're all just one race living together on this little blue planet. Anyway, I'm going to get off the soapbox and get back into the trading. So, what's on deck for today? The big thing today is Michigan sentiment. Michigan sentiment came in, is expected to come in at 10 o'clock Eastern, looking for a consensus of 92. The prior is 93.2. And we have Fed's Rosengren at 1:15 p.m. and Fed's Kaplan at 3 p.m. There's a lot of exciting news coming in the next couple weeks, a lot of things that I've been working on that are likely to come alive for online traders, which has been my focus now for the last 10 years or so versus, being ducked out in a tiny room in the board of trade with prop traders. Again, I'm thinking globally and looking for solutions globally for the industry. So, in terms of what's scheduled, pretty straightforward. Michigan sentiment. This could be a mover. This is not like the final number where it's a revision. This is the prelim, and the market is very, very sensitive to economic data. So look for that today. Sunday night, we do get a bunch of releases from China, balance of trade for September exports and imports out of China. Imports out of China, negative 5.2% expected. Exports, negative 3% expected. Priors, negative 1. Balance of trade is a positive 33.3 billion. Look for those numbers if you're trading on Sunday night. Again, those come out at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Let's take a look at what was expected yesterday versus what we got. I'm going to keep this segment very short. Primary scenario, open auction. We are opening in range, in value, right up against the point of control, right up against the overnight point of control, which is also the overnight point of control of the prior session. So there's a lot of consolidation here at the 29.17 in the range of about 15 to 20. There's quite a bit of consolidation going on, and you can see that the market is shifting its mood towards an uptrend. And in this situation, you have balance leading to imbalance, and we're likely to break, and that's the break higher. Okay, so scenario one is a break higher, looking for 29.44 at least, and then expecting it to turn and roll over and down into the close. What did we get? So that was the primary scenario. What did we get? Well, we got what we expected. I'm going to do this on the 2-tick Renko, and here it is, a little open auction at the open, tests value high the prior day, and then off to the races it goes. Off to the races, higher it goes, and we end up getting the 29.44 and pushing it to 29.48, which is the next big area. Actually, if I show you this chart, look at that, 29.4775 composite low volume node, and its value high of the template day that we were on, which was last Monday. 29.48 and quarter, pulls all the way back into the prior range again and finishes higher, of course, on news. So scenario one, again, I'll show you that right on point. The auction is quite orderly, except for the tweeting and the talking and the more talking and the more talking. So overall, pretty good, pretty decent trade. Let's carry that into the overnight. We get this little spurt of news right here that China's really working towards a deal, at least a partial deal. We go sideways. We head right back to the SOC of that, the scene of the crime. We go sideways for quite a bit, and then as soon as the Europeans come in, they do the heavy lifting and move us higher into 29.74 with the point of control 29.70, and then we have a double distribution profile with the VWAP in mid beneath us. The market has the ES has a relatively It's not exactly a weak high, to be honest with you. I'll show you that on the volume scope. If you look at the volume scope and you look at the taper at the high, it's actually quite orderly. These top five numbers show a relatively orderly um, dry up of buying volume. So it looks weak when we go back to this chart and look at it, but actually there is a taper here. This is not a shelf. There is a taper here, and so the high is in terms of how weak it is kind of iffy. The expectation is for responsive selling this morning back into the prior day's high. I'm looking for it to push down to 2950. Um, 2950 and back into the mid for a first test. Now, before we move on, let's take a good hard look at the big picture because as traders, we do not want to get stuck in the weeds. We want to see not only the trees, but the forest itself. Here's what we've done over the last few days. And what we have here is one time framing up on the daily. Okay. We have higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. We've pushed back above the MC point of control from this balance zone and into this next zone. And this next zone now has a huge magnet up above at 2979. 2979. And so I'll remind you that the overnight high is 2974. And so overall, the auction is proceeding nicely towards that high volume node. The next high volume node of the balance of the entire month of September, and the only reason it's the entire month of September is because we happen to pop higher and have a gap up on the 5th of September, and we held that range all the way to the 1st of October. 2nd of October, we gap down, and that brings us into the lower balance that we've been stuck in here for the last week. So we're breaking into the higher balance. Key areas 2979, 3000. Short squeeze time is what it looks like to me. Now, again, this is all news based. You know, the market is just responding to the tweeter in chief and his counterpart in China and Brexit and the Turks going into northern Syria and there's a lot that's kind of creating risk or taking risk off on this market. We are squished between a 200 simple moving average and a 20 a simple moving average. I don't use moving averages in general, but I look at these just to get a general idea. And of course, I'm doing these on an RTH only bar. Okay, so we on the weekly, so you know the week started right here on the weekly, we still have a lower high on the weekly. So the one-time framing on the weekly is still negative, but on the daily, we have one-time framing that's reverted back up, and we have some discord there between the two. We're creating this big kind of wedge formation or a triangle, and it's breaking higher today. This is quite bullish in my opinion. I don't trade patterns, but the overall action and the auction have been quite bullish. Let's look at Bookmap for a minute. This is ctbookmap.pro. The This is from yesterday. You can see how the market tackled some pretty heavy liquidity yesterday at 40. Really struggled up here at 40, and then again at 50. This is almost, for those of you who are old enough to have seen the first Predator movie, this looks like something out of the Predator, but it's the darker colors, the yellow, orange, red, and maroon are indicating higher and higher liquidity. And this is indicating to us where the overall market is being heavily offered or heavily bid. So in the overnight, what we've done is not really been too aggressive in terms of lifting. We do have a pretty good have a pretty good delta coming into today's action, but it's been quite stuck in this 2970 to about 2960 range, and this liquidity keeps coming back and has been here for some time. So this liquidity at 2970, 2960 has been coming in and out, and the overnight point of control at 2970. I don't see any other kind of serious patterns here. 2980 has some liquidity up above 2983.84, which has a stock zone up there. So 80 and 84, 85 are important to me. And then below 2960, and then we're free and clear down into 2940. So if we break below this 2960, we may see it slipping all the way back into yesterday's initial bounce high, basically. That's where the overnight low is, notice, is in that 2940 area, which is now being bid. So that's how things are setting up. In terms of what we've got for today, let's take a look at that. What do we have for today? Now, it is Friday, so guess what? You're going to have to take a moment, find the like button on YouTube if you're on YouTube, and hit the like button. It helps people find the channel when they do a search on futures or whatever. Please do that before you leave today. Here's what we have in terms of the plans for today. We're up against the overnight point of control. Remember, beneath us, we have mid and VWAP right down in here. My expectation is for an open auction that immediately pushes higher into this overnight point of control, potentially not taking out the 74, probably taking out the 74, and then I'm looking for responsive selling back into 59.50, and then I'm looking for it to come all the way back almost to close the gap zone before it bounces. I'm expecting some responsive selling into the weekend. Into the weekend, there's more risk holding these contracts into the weekend, and I expect people to square off today. I'm not telling you to think short. I'm simply saying if it does fail to the upside, then you have quite a bit of play, especially if we get beneath that 2960 liquidity, the 2959.50, which is a pretty big area from September. If we get below there, we could see it kind of precipitate down pretty quickly, okay? On the alternative, we get responsive selling right off the open down into 2960, attempt to push below, fail, impulse up back to the open, and then we have a squeeze. And in the template day, if you look at the template day right here, it's a trend day down. It has very little in terms of liquidity above the 2970 area. So this could be a very slow, painful squeeze for shorts into the close before we bounce out at the end of the day. Again, it's Friday, the weekend's upon us, and Columbus Day is on Monday. So I'll leave you with those thoughts. That's what I've got. Again, please hit the like button today. It is like Friday. And if you have questions for me, you can find me at futurestrader71.com/contact. You can find me on Twitter at futurestrader71 or on twitter.com/futurestrader71, or you can leave a comment in the video and I'll do my best to get to it. Good luck today. I'll catch you on Monday morning. Oh, actually, I may not be here Monday, but most likely I will be.